Hi, I'm Andrew Simpson with Ether Automation, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up an automation that most drop shippers are going to want in their Zoho CRM. So let's imagine you run a website that you drop ship off of, and you only have one vendor. In the next video, we're going to show you multiple vendors, but in this one, let's imagine just one. And when orders come in on your website, you then send something off to your vendor to ship it directly. This is a standard practice for dropshipping companies, and you may need to do accounting for this to make sure you're profitable in every sale. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that accounting. And in a later video, we're going to show you how to automatically send something off to the vendor and have them confirm it. So let's start out by sharing my screen. And I hope I'm sharing the right screen. Otherwise, this is going to be a short video. Great. So right here, I have a sales order in my Zoho CRM. This may have come in through Amazon, or may have come in through WooCommerce, or heck, a Wix site. So what I'm going to want to have to set up is that when that sales order is created, it then creates an adjacent purchase order, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I have a new mouse, so stick with me. There we go. I'm going to open up a new tab, click Workflow Rules. We're going to call this one New Sales Orders. And it's going to be related to sales orders. And we're going to say whenever a new sales order is created, for all sales orders, we're going to want to run a function. And we're going to write our own function. We're going to call this sales order to purchase order. Paste. Let's go to create. So now that we're in our function, let's go ahead and define a few things. Let's start out by importing an ID of that sales order so that we can pull in all the values. Sales orders, go field, sales order ID, done, save. So now let's create some architecture. The architecture here is going to be relatively easy. So let's start out by saying get the sales order info, and then we want to assemble the purchase order map. And then we want to create the purchase order. Very simple stuff. So because we have the ID of the sales order right here, let's start out by getting the sales order record. Sales order equals Zoho.crm get record by ID. And we want to do sales underscore orders. And the number we want to do is the ID. Very simple. So then if I info this sales orders, and we grab this ID right here, you're going to see something magical happen. Boom, we have our sales order. Now what you're going to notice is that there is a list within the sales orders, and that is the sub form right here. And if I click the car hat, right, you're going to see that the car hat has a vendor, Carco. We're going to assume that everything in your sales orders, for at least this video, is from the same vendor. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to do this for multiple vendors, and we're going to expand on this function. But for this one, let's just imagine it's just the Carco. So to make this easier, I'm going to go ID equals paste so that when I run it in the future, it goes a little faster. So the next thing we want to do is assemble a purchase order map. So let's actually do this. Let's call it purchase order map equals map, right? And within the purchase order, if I go and create one, there are a few mandatory fields. One of them is the vendor name. The other one is the subject. So let's start with the subject. Purchase order map dot put subject, and we want that to be the sales order dot get, and sales orders has the same thing, dot get subjects, and there we are. Next thing we want to do is have a vendor, but the vendors are based on the line item. So what we're going to do is we're going to say vendor name or vendor ID equals a string right now, right? So now we want to do for each line item. We want to get in that line item because we want to get the vendor for all those line items as well as some other information. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's start by assigning a variable to the new list, which is this here. You can see it right here's where it starts. So let's call this the every line item list equals sales orders order dot get. And if we look closely in here, it's called product details. So we're going to get the product details in quotes, and then just to be safe, let's list this, right? And finally, because we're about to go through each of the line items and put it into a new map, we need a list for that new map. So let's go line item list equals list. Boom. Now for each element in every line item list, and we're going to call this variable line item, we are going to do the following stuff. Let's start by get the product. Then we want to get the vendor, right? And then we want to assemble the line item. And then we want to add line item to list. Great, so let's get the product. First thing we want to do is we want to call it a variable. So we'll go product equals Zoho.crm.get product or get record by ID. We're getting the product, and the number we are using is line item dot get product. You can see it right here. It's product, right? And then there's product code, blah, blah, blah. But we want to grab the ID. So let's line item dot get product, and then we want to do dot get ID. Done. So now that we have the product, we want to get the vendor for that product. So let's say vendor ID is now equal to product dot get vendor underscore name. And then we want to get the ID of that vendor. Very simple. Now we actually want to assemble the new line item. So we'll call make a map. New line equals map. New line dot put. And within this map, we want to put product. If you look at the API names of this, it will say it's a product with a capital P. And I'm going to save you a bunch of times by telling you, I don't know why Zoho does this. It's lowercase when it's nested within the line items of a quote sales order, purchase order, potentially an invoice within Zoho CRM. So product, and we are going to do line item dot get. We actually want to copy the same thing right here because we already have that ID. New line, and again, much like the old line, it is quantity, comma, quantity. And then finally, we want to add this line item to the list. So up here we have line item list, list.add, and let's put in the new line within that. Some very simple stuff. So then finally, outside of this, we have the purchase order map, and we want to put the vendor name. Vendor underscore name is the same as the vendor ID right here. So let's copy that and let's paste it right here. So now we have vendor ID on the same page or within the same map. And then we also want to put the product details, product underscore details. And we're going to put in this line item list. And now for the easy parts, info Zoho.crm.create record. We are creating a purchase underscore orders. And the key value here is the purchase order map. Purchase order map. Very simple stuff. So now when I save and execute, assuming I don't have any errors like I do right here, there we go. So assuming I don't have any errors, I can run this. And it's created a purchase order. So now if I click cancel, the purchase order we created is right there. With all of our products, we've got the car hat and the cat carrier at their list prices in here as a purchase order. So now if I comment out that ID at the beginning of our function and click save, and save, we now have a function that when a new sales order is created, it creates a purchase order. In the next video, I'm going to show you what to do if those sales orders have items from different vendors. You're going to want to create a different purchase order for each vendor. So I'll show you how to do that. I hope this is helpful. I'll see you in the next video.